Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cracking the Spiritual Code. I'm Randi Sands, and we've also got MK Roland here tonight. And we're discussing living as an empath. So, MK, what would you like to say?
I have a medical background. I'm a critical care nurse practitioner. And there's something called the limbic lag, and it's a true physical phenomenon. I use the example when I was young, I had horses, and my sister's horse was Houdini, so he could get out of anything. So needless to say, we had electric fences. And I got such a phobia about this electric fence because I kept getting shocked. And it got to the point where even when I had unplugged it, I still couldn't make myself touch it because I thought I was going to get shocked, which of course was irrational. But the limbic system is in the reptilian brain, the reptilian part of our brain. It's the fight or flight area.
The amygdala?
Mm-hmm. And so what happens is when you've had an experience, especially when it comes through viscerally as well, your body remembers that, and it remembers that with the adrenaline, with the, fight or flight, the whole thing. Your brain very quickly can respond very quickly to information and say, oh, that's not a danger anymore. That danger's been mitigated. But the limbic system, because it is that basic reptilian, survival mode part of the brain, it takes a long time for that to catch up to the information. So even though you may now have this bubble that works well for you or whatever, don't be surprised if some of those physical feelings still creep in. And just know that that is nature's way of protecting us. It just needs to give up earlier. So if you understand that it's a physical phenomenon and you have control, but it is limited control because it was there to save your life. It's just outlived its usefulness in our world now.
Right. And sometimes even though you have your bubble, sometimes for me, I still have to say, hey, spirit, look, I'm still getting stuff through this bubble.
Yeah.
I need you to make the walls of the bubble thicker.
And
they'll do it. Spirit will do whatever you ask of it. The problem is you have to ask. Yep. And that's where we all forget.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, so who else would like to comment?
Well, I have something to kind of add to that is that
hold on a second, you guys. If you want, get your hand up there so I can see it. Okay, go ahead, Leanne.
It's really hard. It's really hard for me to put my hand up because I'm in my car and it's dark.
Okay, so Nicole, you'll be next because that way I know that you want to talk. Okay, go ahead, Leanne.
Just to kind of tag on to what MK said, that's exactly where I am. I do have that bubble in place, but it's almost like my body when it's too much, even with the bubble, the fatigue can hit me like a ton of bricks. How do you then kind of talk yourself back out of that or go, okay, I don't want to have to leave this situation anymore just because I'm exhausted from absorbing all this energy? Is there something you can do in that moment to kind of let go of all that energy?
MK, you want to address that first?
For me, I just dive into my left brain and I just rationalize out what I'm feeling. Do a body scan because chances are you've got one part of your body physically reacting more than the others. So even if you relieve the most prominent thing, you may not realize there are other subtleties going on too. So a good body scan when you're in that situation, and then just say, oh, I see, I'm having this because, or this particular thing is still triggering. And then I use a mantra, I am safe, secure, and in control. And I just repeat that a bunch of times to myself. I'm safe, secure, and in control.
And you know what I do? I leave.
Yeah, that's.
I figure and I just leave.
And that's been what I tend to do. But I'm trying very hard to try to figure out how to learn to deal with it. Because then unfortunately I leave and then the next time I'm like, I'm not going because I don't want to deal
Yep.
with it. You know?
Yep.
George, I see you, but let me get to Nicole first because I can't see her hand. Nicole, go ahead, hon.
This is actually more of a comment than it is a question. But my grandmother, because of me being empathic too when I was young, my grandmother had always taught me that if you're in situations like that, just like kind of instead of the bubble, she actually told me, like maybe this might be a little bit more visual for some people, but she told me to actually like put my hand out, like if there's something that's coming out, like visualize like a hand kind of like pushing it away, almost like reflecting it.
Mhm.
That's how I've always dealt with it, even when I was a kid, and I still do that now.
Good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Well,
Marcy,
me.
George, I'll get to you.
I-
Don't worry, honey.
No problem.
huh?
Go ahead, Marcy. We got to be quick.
I have something opposite than all of you. I have no fear being in crowds, but growing up, and even particularly my teenage years, the early 20s, I always felt nobody understood me. I would speak articulately and clearly, and they had no clue what I was saying. I always felt I was on the outside looking in. And
Well,
I
that
thought,
just tells me that you were more evolved than the people that were around you. Wouldn't you agree, MK?
Yeah.
is that what it was? And I said, am I right and the world is wrong? What's wrong here? It really used to bother me.
I think probably most of us have felt that way.
It sounds like you have a strong observer effect going on too. Like you're
Very.
cognizant of yourself, which is good as long as you understand that's what's happening.
But if you put me in a large group that's social and you have to believe, and I'm very verbal, I can become very shy because to me it's a waste of time because it's all shallow.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to step back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I also have to ask my spirit. I had a situation. I just went on a cruise with a woman that was totally negative, antisocial. I went, paid the cruise so she could go for free.
Mm.
And I had to build a wall the whole week and run from her to have a good time because I didn't want to upset myself. I just built a wall around it and said, there's nothing I can do. I'll live out the next 5 days and it will be over and it will never happen again.
Good
But
job.
it takes a lot of strength to do that.
Yes, it does. And good job. All right. Who else? Michelle, did you have your hand up or was it? Oh, okay.
George.
Whitney. Whitney, go ahead, honey.
So I also work in healthcare, and it's really hard, especially at work, feeling all the energy, especially right now with everything how rampant it is, and trying to figure out a lot of times, is this truly my energy or someone else's energy? And then coping with all of that at the end of the day, because it drains my energy so much.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to recuperate it, it's hard.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is.
Yes, it is.
Suggestions and
Self-care is important.
Yes, it is.
Whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's just sitting outside enjoying nature, whatever it is, those are the things that are going to rejuvenate you. So what I would say is when I got off work, I would do whatever it is that works for you so that you get that pickup.
Yeah, don't put it off.
the problem is when I'm actually at work, I feel like I'm already starting to get drained from it all. How to rejuvenate that to keep going on doing the job.
I would
Wow.
go into the restroom if it was me, and I would do some breathing techniques. Breathe in deep through your nose, hold it, exhale through your mouth, and breathe in healing light white, healing white light, yeah. Hold it for a second and exhale through your mouth all negative energy. I would do that 3, 4, 5 times, and then I would go back to what I was doing. That's what I would do. MK, you have a suggestion?
No, I think that's a very, very good suggestion. It's just depending upon your area of healthcare. being able to walk away for even for a few minutes sometimes can be really difficult to do. So even just closing your eyes for a few moments and deep breathing at the bedside, I used to find was very helpful.
There you go. George?
Yeah, one thing that I was going to say too is back with what Leanne said, and so I call it the empath hangover, which is like the next day I feel like I can't get out of bed. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just drink, right? In most cases I am drinking, but this is not what I'm talking about. But so one thing that helps me is, and actually my cousin Pauline is here, she can attest to this, so it's true. I sage myself. I use sage to get some of that energy off of me. I wear black tourmaline. I also, one thing that really helps me, and it's kind of weird, I just figured it out, peppermint oil and like wild orange, you can get from doTERRA. I just put a couple of drops in it and I smell it and it kind of wakes me up and I'm like, oh my gosh, all right. Somehow I just dispelled that. And then I do some Portuguese remedies, which is like a rock salt bath and garden rue and, you know, all of that stuff. So I think there's stones too, but the only one I use is tourmaline. So there are a few things for that hangover that help me, but I can get it pretty bad. It sounds like you too, Leanne. So.
Absolutely. And right now that might work better than my shot of vodka in the morning. That's just
might help.
Right?
Anybody else want to comment or ask a question? Who's talking? Put your hand way up. Okay, I see you, Pauline. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I'm going back to just the general talk on this conversation. In the very beginning, when we were talking about when you're a kid and the animals and Disney movies, I was super sensitive like that, right? And I would bawl like, Dumbo, give me a break. I brought it from my daughter. I don't know why I bawled and told her we can't watch this. It horrified her. But anyway, but what's interesting, or what I want to comment about, is that I grew up in a kind of a repressive family. George knows about this. My dad was very, very old school Catholic, and anything like this was the devil's work, right? So I really felt kind of crazy. But fast forward to not that long ago, I got more and more involved in what my senses told me to get involved in, which is this kind of work. And I went, I'm not as good at this now as I'm going to talk about, but I meditated every day for 2 years. Changed my life. It really did. It changed so much in me. I can't say enough about meditation, really. I just can't. It's like you tap into that frequency and it just gives you kind of the ability to move along in this world. It's really saved me a lot. I mean, it's, you know, I was kind of a suicidal kid, and it really saved me. It just changed me. I got back to my original self. You know, closer, working on it. Still working on it.
We're glad it saved you, honey. Okay, so we have to get ready to close this one down. After this one at 8:45, we're going to have cannabis and spiritualism, which I'm really excited to do that one with MK, because we were chatting about it the other day, and we were really throwing some really neat stuff out. But here's what I want to do before we go, you guys. I'm going to share with you guys, if it cooperates with me. If it wants to, oh, I see what's going on. Okay. So if MK resonated with anybody and you would like to reach her, this is how you can reach her. If you would like to schedule a reading or what have you.
Questions, anything.
Okay. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
I'm doing it now.
And from there, if anybody wants to reach out to me, and this is the YouTube channel. We're going to be putting all these videos. I can tell you right now, there's some on there with John White with his advice for the person that wants to develop. So there's a few things there, and we're going to be putting more and more and more. Okay.
Oh, I couldn't get it all down.
Does anybody have anything quick they want to say before we close out?
For the cannabis one, are we supposed to use
Yes.
gummies before we jump on?
It's what? I didn't hear
Say
you.
it again.
So no.
We should have a gummy before we get on to the next call.
Oh my. That could be something.
Why not?
That could be something.
I'm in, George.
Who said that?
I do want to say something quick.
Okay.
Now with like the fact of how everybody has like their ways of dealing with it, I actually do salt scrub. The
Yeah.
salt is protective and it helps wash away. So I pretty much like salt scrub almost once a week to get all the residual off.
Yep.
That's good. I also, for those of you that haven't seen them on Facebook yet, I also have a little business with salt lamps. It's amazing, where you can do custom logos and everything else, and they're not that expensive, you guys. We're keeping them very reasonable. All right, so we're going to end this one, and at 8:45, the next one will start. So we'll go out, and then we'll all come back into that one.
All right.
Is there a different code?
It's the same one, but we have to end this one and then go back in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay?
All
I'll see
right.
everybody soon, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ready?
Thank
Thank you.